Imagine this for a moment. You wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of worrying about bills, rent, or your next paycheck, you know, deep in your heart, that wealth is flowing into your life as certainly as water flows downhill. What if I told you that getting rich isn't about luck, talent, or being born into the right family, but about learning and applying a science? Yes, a science, just like mathematics or physics. Follow the principles, and wealth follows you. Ignore them, and no matter how hard you work, money slips through your fingers. This is the bold promise of Wallace D. Wattles in his classic book, The Science of Getting Rich. A short book, written over a century ago, but one that has inspired countless millionaires, entrepreneurs, and even modern bestsellers like The Secret. And in this series, not just summarizing the book, we're going to live through it, understand it deeply, and translate it into today's world. So grab your seat, clear your mind, and let's dive into the hidden science of wealth. Chapter 1. The Big Secret of Wealth, The Right to Be Rich. Wattles begins with a powerful idea. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. Think about that for a moment. It's not greed, it's not selfishness, it's a truth. When you have wealth, you can eat nutritious food, live in a healthy environment, access education, travel, explore your talents, help your family, support causes you care about, and live a fuller life. Now, some people feel guilty about wanting to be rich. Society often teaches us that money is the root of all evil, that being spiritual means rejecting wealth, or that desiring more is selfish. But Wattles flips this idea on its head. He argues, you have the right to be rich. In fact, you must be rich in order to develop fully, to grow, and to serve others at your highest potential. Here's a little story to illustrate this. Imagine two artists. One is poor, struggling to pay rent, skipping meals, constantly anxious. The other has resources, good food, a quiet studio, the ability to travel for inspiration. Who do you think creates better art? The one who is free, secure, and resourced. Wealth doesn't make you greedy. It makes you more of who you already are. If you're kind, wealth allows you to show more kindness. If you're creative, wealth allows you to express your creativity fully. So the first lesson of the science of getting rich is this. Don't feel guilty for wanting money. It is your natural right. It is as natural as a plant seeking sunlight, as natural as a child growing taller, as natural as a river flowing to the sea. A new perspective. Think about how different life would feel if you stopped seeing money as a problem or a struggle, and instead saw it as a natural result of aligning with universal laws. In other words, you don't have to hustle endlessly. You don't have to compete or fight others for scraps. You simply have to understand the science, apply it, and wealth will flow. This is where Wattles sets the stage. Wealth is not chance, it's law. And in the chapters ahead, we'll uncover those laws one by one. But first, let's lock in the foundation. You have the right to be rich, not just for survival, but for living the highest, fullest life possible. And now that you've accepted this truth, let's step into the next secret, thinking in a certain way. Because in this science, it's not about working harder. It's about thinking differently. And once you master the thinking, everything else begins to align. Chapter 2. Thinking in a certain way, plus the power of gratitude. Now that we've accepted the truth that you have the right to be rich, that money is not greed but growth, the question becomes, how exactly do we get there? Wallace D. Wattles says it all begins with thinking in a certain way, not working harder, not hustling endlessly, not fighting competitors. Wealth starts in the mind. Thinking in a certain way. Let me tell you a quick story. Two shopkeepers open their stores in the same neighborhood. The first shopkeeper is constantly worried. He says, the economy is bad, customers are broke, big companies will crush me. I'll probably fail. His mind is filled with fear and scarcity. The second shopkeeper wakes up each day with a clear vision. He says, my shop is growing. Customers love what I offer. I'm part of an endless flow of opportunities. Wealth is coming to me, same street, same business. But after a year, one store is struggling while the other thrives. What's the difference? It's not luck, it's thinking. Wattles teaches us that your thoughts are like a magnet. Whatever you consistently think about, whether good or bad, you pull into your life. This is not just positive thinking. It's about forming a clear, definite mental picture of what you want, holding it in faith, and refusing to let doubt erase it. If your mind is scattered, wealth becomes scattered. If your vision is vague, results are vague. But when your vision is sharp and steady, the universe begins to rearrange itself around that vision. The trap of competitive thinking. Here's another important part. Stop thinking in terms of competition. Most people believe wealth is limited, like there's only one pie, and the only way to get rich is to grab a bigger slice than others. This leads to fear, envy, and cutthroat behavior. But Wattles says, the universe is not running out of wealth. There are infinite pies to be baked, infinite opportunities waiting to be created. When you think creatively instead of competitively, you stop fighting over scraps and instead open doors to endless supply. The power of gratitude. But thinking alone isn't enough. There's a second force that supercharges this entire process. Gratitude. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It is the deep recognition that you are already connected to abundance. When you are grateful, your mind vibrates in harmony with the source of supply. You stop complaining, stop focusing on what's missing, and instead tune into what's already flowing into your life. Think about it like a radio station. If wealth is playing on one frequency, gratitude is the dial that tunes you into it. Without gratitude, your station is full of static, fear, doubt, envy. With gratitude, the signal becomes crystal clear. A story of gratitude in action. There's a story about a young inventor. He had a brilliant idea for a device, but no money. No investors, no connections. Every night before sleeping, he would write down everything he was grateful for. The pen he had, the small desk in his room, his health, his ideas, the possibility of success. Instead of complaining, he chose gratitude. One day, he met a mentor who loved his positive energy and helped him secure funding. Within years, his invention spread across the country. When asked how he managed through the tough years, he simply said, "I never doubted. I was too busy being grateful." Gratitude does something magical. It makes you magnetic to opportunity. Practical exercise. Here's how you can use this today. Every morning, visualize the life you want as if it already exists. Hold that picture steady. Every night, write down 5 things you are grateful for today. Big or small, it doesn't matter. Throughout the day, whenever doubt creeps in, switch it with gratitude. This practice rewires your thinking into that certain way Wattles speaks of. Key takeaway. So here's the essence of Chapter 2. Wealth begins in the mind. You must think creatively, not...
Chapter 3. Acting in a certain way. Efficient action and advancing. All so far, we've learned that you have the right to be rich, and that riches begin with thinking in a certain way. Clear vision, creative thought, and gratitude. But here's the truth. Thinking alone is not enough. You can't sit on a couch, daydream about a mansion, and expect it to appear like magic. Wattles is clear. Once your thinking is aligned, you must take action, but not the exhausting, chaotic kind of action most people think of. It's not about working longer hours or grinding yourself into the ground. It's about taking efficient action. Efficient. Action versus wasted action. Think of 2 workers in a field. The first one runs around wildly, digging holes here, planting seeds there, rushing from one spot to another. By evening, he's covered in sweat, exhausted, but the field is messy. The second one moves with calm purpose. He focuses on one row at a time, plants carefully, waters efficiently. At the end of the day, his field is neat, planted, and growing. Who do you think creates more results? The one who acts with efficiency, not panic. This is Wattles' lesson. Do every day's work in the best way possible. Not more than you can handle. Not tomorrow's work. Not yesterday's regrets. Just today's work, done efficiently, done excellently. Why efficient action matters. When you act in this way, you become a magnet for opportunity. People notice your reliability. Your results compound faster than those who rush without direction. Think of the difference between a person who works 12 hours a day in chaos versus someone who works 6 hours with clarity and focus. The efficient person often creates twice the results. The secret ingredient: advancing all. Now here's where Wattles drops another golden principle. To truly get rich, you must make sure that every person you deal with feels like they are advancing too. This is huge. Most businesses try to squeeze customers, exploit employees, or compete ruthlessly, but that mindset limits growth. It makes people avoid you. Instead, Wattles teaches, when you give more in use value than you take in cash value, you create goodwill, loyalty, and expansion. Here's what that means. If you sell a product for $50, make sure it brings $100 worth of benefit into someone's life. If you manage a team, make sure your employees feel like they're growing, not just working. If you meet someone in passing, leave them with more positivity than they had before. Example: the cafe that won hearts. Imagine 2 cafes side by side. The first cafe serves coffee, charges money, and that's it. Nothing extra. The second cafe also serves coffee, but the owner adds something special. Free little booklets with inspirational stories, warm conversations with customers, and occasional surprise upgrades. Which cafe do people return to again and again? The second one. Because people don't just remember the product, they remember how it advanced their life. When people feel uplifted by you, they naturally want to see you succeed. How to practice efficient and advancing action. Here's how to apply this principle starting today. Plan each day's work the night before. Ask, what is the most important thing I must do tomorrow? Do it with focus and quality. Don't rush, don't multitask. Do it well. Ask yourself in every interaction, am I leaving this person better than I found them? This simple routine can transform not only your work, but your relationships, your business, and your reputation. Key takeaway. So here's the essence of Chapter 3. Wealth does not come from frantic labor, but from efficient, purposeful action. You succeed faster when you focus on advancing others, customers, coworkers, strangers, everyone. When you combine this with your clear vision and gratitude, you create an unstoppable momentum toward wealth. And now, we arrive at one of the most crucial principles in the science of getting rich: faith. Because no matter how good your vision, how efficient your action, there will be days of doubt. The next chapter will reveal how faith and unwavering purpose keep the science alive, even when results don't appear instantly. Chapter 4. Faith, purpose, and how riches actually come. We've uncovered some powerful truths so far. You have the right to be rich. Wealth begins with thinking in a certain way, and it becomes reality through efficient action that uplifts others. But there's still a missing link. What keeps you steady when results don't show up right away? What stops you from doubting when things seem stuck? Wallace D. Wattles answers with one word: faith. The power of faith. Faith is not wishful thinking. It's not blind hope. Faith is the unshakable confidence that the laws of wealth work just as surely as the law of gravity. When you drop a stone, gravity always pulls it down. When you think and act in a certain way, riches always flow toward you. The challenge is this: unlike gravity, results don't always appear instantly. And this delay is where most people fail. They give up too soon. Wattles reminds us, you must hold your vision steady with faith and purpose, no matter what the outside world looks like. Example: the 2 farmers. Picture 2 farmers planting seeds in the spring. The first farmer checks the soil every day. After a week, he sees nothing and says, "This doesn't work." He digs up the seeds, abandons the field. The second farmer knows the laws of nature. He waters the soil daily, even when nothing is visible. Weeks later, sprouts push through, then crops flourish. Same seeds, same soil. The difference? Faith in the unseen process. Getting rich works the same way. Your vision is the seed. Your daily action is the watering. Faith is what keeps you working while the roots grow underground. Purpose. the fuel of faith, but faith alone isn't enough. You must also have purpose. Purpose is the fire that keeps you moving. It's your why. Without it, you get distracted, discouraged, or swayed by other people's doubts. Purpose doesn't just mean making money. It means having a larger reason, something beyond yourself. Maybe your purpose is giving your family a better life. Maybe it's sharing your art with the world. Maybe it's building schools, starting charities, or leaving a legacy. Whatever it is, your purpose gives you the strength to keep moving when results are slow. How riches actually come. Now, here's where Wattles gets very practical. He says, riches don't just fall out of the sky. They come through natural channels, through people, ideas, opportunities, and connections. When you hold your vision, act efficiently and stay in faith, the universe arranges the right circumstances. For example, you might randomly meet someone who introduces you to a new business partner. You might get an idea for a product at just the right moment. You might find yourself in the right place at the right time. To the outside world, it looks like coincidence. But to someone practicing the science, it's the natural result of alignment. Wealth flows to you not by magic, but by lining up thought, faith, and action so opportunities can find you. Example, the struggling clerk. There's a story of a young clerk in a department store. Every day, he worked diligently, but also visualized himself as a successful businessman. He was grateful for every opportunity and acted with purpose. One day, his employer offered him a small chance to handle a side project, something others dismissed as boring. He accepted with enthusiasm and efficiency. That project caught the attention of investors, who later partnered with him to start his own company, from a simple store clerk to a business owner, all because he stayed faithful, purposeful, and ready to act. Practical exercise. Here's how you can build faith and purpose into your daily life. Write down your vision as if it's already real. Example, I am living in abundance, running my successful business, supporting my family. Anchor it to your purpose. Ask him, why do I want this? Who benefits beyond me? Whenever doubt arises, repeat. The science of getting rich is as certain as the law of gravity. My results are growing, even if I can't see them yet. Key takeaways. Here's the essence of chapter. For faith is what keeps you steady when results are invisible. Purpose fuels your faith with meaning, and riches arrive not by chance, but through natural channels, opportunities, people, and ideas that appear when you're aligned. Now, we're getting closer to the heart of Wattles' philosophy, because there's still a dangerous trap most people fall into: competition. In the next chapter, we'll discover why competing for wealth actually keeps you poor, and how to step into the creative mindset that makes you truly unstoppable.
Chapter 5. The competitive versus creative mindset. By now you understand that wealth is your right, that it begins in thought, is strengthened by gratitude, becomes real through efficient action, and is held steady by faith and purpose. But here's a trap that destroys more dreams than almost anything else. The trap of competition. Most people believe life is a fight, that wealth is limited, that to win, someone else must lose. But Wattles says this thinking is poison, and the very reason so many people stay stuck in struggle. The illusion of scarcity. Imagine walking into a bakery. You see 10 loaves of bread on the shelf. If 10 customers buy them, the shelf is empty. That's how most people view wealth: fixed, limited, scarce. But Wattles says, wealth is not like bread on a shelf. Wealth is more like sunlight, limitless, abundant, available to all. There isn't a limited supply of ideas. There isn't a fixed amount of opportunities. And the universe is constantly creating more resources, more inventions, more possibilities. If you believe in scarcity, you're forced into competition. But if you understand abundance, you move into creation. The competitive mindset. Competition says, there's only so much to go around. If they win, I lose. I need to fight harder, push harder, take more. And what happens? Competition breeds stress, envy, and short-term wins but long-term stagnation. Have you ever noticed companies that compete only on price? They slash their prices lower and lower, fighting each other until nobody makes a profit. That's the competitive trap. The creative mindset creation, on the other hand, says, I don't need to fight for scraps. I can create new value. There are infinite ideas waiting to be born. By advancing others, I advance myself. Think of Apple when they launched the iPhone. They didn't compete by making a slightly cheaper flip phone. They created something entirely new. And in doing so, they expanded the whole market. That's the creative mindset. Expansion, innovation, abundance. Example, 2 businesses picture. 2 clothing stores in the same town. Store A is competitive. They spy on rivals, copy designs, cut prices, complain that the market is too small. Customers sense the scarcity energy and drift away. Store B is creative. They focus on making customers feel amazing, designing clothes with love, adding value beyond the price tag. They don't worry about rivals. They create their own path. Guess which store thrives? Always the creative one, because people are drawn to growth, not fear. Why competition keeps you poor? Here's Wattles' warning. If you compete, you acknowledge scarcity. And by acknowledging scarcity, you attract scarcity. Your thoughts create your reality. So if you constantly think, there isn't enough, I have to fight for mine, the universe mirrors that back to you. But if you live in creative faith, you attract new opportunities, unexpected partnerships, and fresh ideas. How to step into creation. So how do you shift from competition to creation? Here are 3 practical steps. Stop comparing. Instead of asking, how can I beat them? Ask, how can I serve more? How can I create better? Focus on adding value. In every deal, every product, every service, ask, does this make life richer for others? Celebrate others' success. When someone else wins, see it as proof of abundance, not loss for you. Example, the musician. There's a story of a young musician. At first, he competed with other artists, jealous, bitter, thinking success was limited. His career stalled. One day, he shifted perspective. Instead of competing, he focused on creating music that was deeply authentic, adding joy to listeners. He began supporting other artists, collaborating, lifting them up. Within years, his career took off, not because he fought harder, but because he created more key takeaways. So, here's the essence of chapter
5. Competition is based on fear and scarcity, and it keeps you.
Small creation is based on abundance and faith, and it makes you unstoppable. The richest people are not those who fight hardest, but those who create the most. Now that you've broken free from competition and stepped into creation, you're ready to live this science in your daily life. In the next chapter, we'll dive into practical daily routines, how to structure your mornings, your actions, and even your evenings so that wealth flows steadily and predictably into your life. Chapter 6, Daily Routine for Wealth, Living the Science. So far, you've discovered the principles. Wealth is your natural right. It begins with thinking in a certain way. It grows through gratitude and efficient action. It's held steady by faith and purpose. And it expands when you live in creation, not competition. But now comes the big question. How do you actually live this every single day? Because a principle is useless if it stays only in your head. Wattles believed that living the science means structuring your daily life around these laws. So wealth isn't something you chase, but something that naturally flows toward you. Morning. Start with vision. Your day begins in your mind. The very first thing you should do each morning is align with your vision. Don't reach for your phone. Don't start with news or social media. Instead, sit quietly for a few minutes and see your life as you want it to be. Not as a dream, but as a reality already happening. Imagine yourself living in the house you desire, working in your chosen business, traveling, giving, creating. Feel gratitude as if it's real now. This simple practice puts your mind on the right frequency before the day even starts. During the day, efficient action. Once your vision is set, your job is simple. Do today's work in the most efficient way possible. Focus on the task at hand. Avoid scattering energy on gossip, complaints, or distractions. Ask yourself often, Is what I'm doing right now moving me toward my vision? If yes, keep going. If no, adjust immediately. This way, every action of your day becomes an investment in your future wealth. Advancing all. Remember Wattles' golden rule. In every interaction, make sure the other person feels advanced. That means serve customers better than they expect. Treat coworkers with respect and encouragement. Offer kindness even in small, everyday encounters. When you radiate this energy, people want to see you succeed. Doors open, referrals come. Partnerships form, afternoon, reset, gratitude check. Halfway through the day, take just 2 minutes to reset with gratitude. Be grateful for what you've already accomplished. Be grateful for what's on its way. This keeps your energy high and your mind tuned to abundance, not frustration. Evening. Reflection and faith. Before bed, review your day. Ask, did I live in creation or fall into competition? Did I advance others? Did I act efficiently? Then, write down 5 things you're grateful for, big or small. This anchors your mind in abundance before sleep, programming your subconscious overnight. Finally, return to your vision once more. See it as complete, finished, real. Go to bed with faith, not doubt. Example, the writer. There's a story of a struggling writer who applied this daily routine. Each morning, he visualized himself as a successful author. Each day he wrote with focus, not random drafts, but disciplined, efficient writing. Each evening, he expressed gratitude for every idea, every reader, every opportunity. At first, nothing seemed to change. But over months, his confidence grew, his writing improved, and one day a publisher reached out. Within years, he was living his vision, an acclaimed author, because he built his days around this science. Why this routine works, it might sound simple, too simple. But that's the point. Great wealth doesn't come from secret tricks or hustling 20 hours a day. It comes from alignment. Morning. Set your vision. Day. Act efficiently. Evening, anchor gratitude and faith. Live this cycle daily, and results compound like interest in a bank. Key takeaway. So here's the essence of Chapter 6. Wealth isn't about luck. It's about living aligned every single day. Vision in the morning, efficient action in the day, gratitude and faith at night. When this becomes your rhythm.
Chapter 7. The ultimate message. Wealth as a life of fulfillment. Wealth is your duty, not selfish, but essential for growth and contribution. True richness means having abundance in money, health, love, and relationships. Time, resources to serve others. We've walked through the science step by step. You've learned that getting rich is not a matter of luck. It's a law of the universe. You've discovered the principles. Think in a certain way, live in gratitude, act efficiently, and stay in creation, not competition. You've explored the daily practices that keep you aligned with this science. Now, we arrive at the heart of Wattles' final message. Why all of this truly matters. Because the science of getting rich is not just about filling your bank account. It's about filling your life. Wealth as a spiritual duty. Wattles said something that surprises many people. It is your duty to be rich. Why? Because only when you're rich, in health, in joy, in finances, in opportunities, can you live your life fully and contribute your best to the world. A poor artist cannot buy paints and canvases to share their vision. A struggling parent cannot give their children the education they dream of. A sick or stressed out entrepreneur cannot build businesses that create jobs and opportunities. Wealth expands your capacity to live, give, and create. The true definition of being rich doesn't mean hoarding money. It means having enough of everything required for a full, abundant life. Money to live freely, health to enjoy your days, love and relationships to nurture your soul, time to explore, learn and grow, resources to contribute, uplift and inspire others. In this sense, getting rich is not greed, it is growth, aligning with the universe. Here's the beautiful truth. The universe is not stingy. It's overflowing with abundance. Every invention, opportunity, and discovery waiting to be made is available to those who align with its laws. When you act according to the science, thinking clearly, acting efficiently, radiating gratitude, you put yourself in harmony with the universal flow. It's like turning on a faucet. Wealth begins to flow naturally because you are moving with the current of creation. Example: the teacher. Let's take one final story. A young teacher loved her students but also dreamed of traveling, writing books and building schools. At first, she felt guilty. Was it selfish to want more than a modest salary? Then she realized Wattles' truth. To give more, you must first become more. She began applying the science daily, visualizing her life, teaching with love, writing with discipline, and living in gratitude. Years later, she had built her own education foundation, funding schools across multiple countries and touching far more lives than she ever could in a single classroom. Her wealth didn't make her selfish. It made her powerful enough to serve. Living the science. Everyday Wattles wants us to walk away with this. Live richly every single day. Think in a certain way. See abundance, not limitation. Act in a certain way. Efficient, focused, creative, giving more than you take. Feel in a certain way. Grateful, faithful, aligned with the truth that wealth is your natural right. When you live this way, wealth becomes inevitable. Final takeaway. Here's the ultimate truth of the science of getting rich. You are meant to be rich, not just in money, but in life. Your growth, your abundance, your success, it uplifts everyone around you. The universe itself advances through your advancement. Wealth is not selfish. It is the most generous thing you can pursue. When you are rich, the whole world becomes richer through you, and that is the timeless message of Wallace D. Wattles. Written over a century ago, yet more relevant today than ever. Wealth is not about chasing, it's about aligning. Wealth is not about luck, it's about law. Wealth is not just money, it's about living fully, giving freely, and becoming the best version of yourself. So ask yourself now, what will you create? How will you live this science today? Because the journey to wealth begins the moment you decide to think in a certain way. If this inspired you, subscribe to Next Chapter Idea, where books become breakthroughs